So today, let me say this. I first came to Milwaukee when I was 14 years old, and I lived here, I believe, for about 16 years or so. I, off and on. There were a couple excursions here and there, amounting to no more than a couple years, but by and large, I lived in Milwaukee from the age of 14 to 30. So I attended high school here, I attended college here, and I will tell you today is the first day that I have ridden my bike along the lakefront. And I'm sort of blown away that one, that's my truth, and two, that it's such a different way to see your space, your city, your environment. And so I think I had a bike from almost day one, at least the first year that I was in Milwaukee. But we lived on the northwest side of town, not too far from where I went to high school. And I do remember riding my bike as far as several miles to school in the summer before school even started, just to hang out in the field and lay on the ground or whichever and look at the sky because I love watching the sky. So I know I was cycling. I just wasn't cycling down here by the lake, which is we're downtown Milwaukee. So, what I have learned, so perspective, don't get me off track, and comfort zones, right? So I'm going to keep reminding myself of that. So, earlier this week was the first time I actually walked by the lake. I've come down to the lake to sit by the water a couple times. I parked by the water a couple times. My brother came to visit me one time with his kids. I took them down to the lake and they frolicked in the water. So I've done that, but I have not gone for a walk along the lake. And so earlier this week when I went for a walk, I'm just loving this view. When I went for a walk by the lakefront, I was walking pretty much over there, over in that area. So I cycled over to this space today. I went for a short walk, maybe a mile or something like that, and I saw the sunset behind Milwaukee. And I've been trying to figure out pretty much all my life how I can see a good sunset with the city of Milwaukee as the foreground. And it took me literally returning at the age of 46. This is a full 30 plus years after I first arrived here, to see the sunset behind the city skyline. That's amazing. And so if we're talking perspectives, it's and comfort zones. Basically, in order to see things differently, you have to get out of your comfort zone. So that's this week's lesson. And not that Milwaukee is a comfortable place for me. I can't say that Milwaukee is a comfortable place for me. It's been a place I've resisted because it was a place I was sent when I didn't want to be separated from my family. So there's that beginning, right? And then it was a place where I struggled with my own identity, in a sense that my family was putting pressure on me to be one way, and I had to fight to be who I am, or to become who I am, or who I was to become, right? So that was a constant struggle, and that happened here. So Milwaukee has been a place of struggle. I hadn't thought of that like that before, but that's what it's been. And so in my adulthood, I've resisted being here. And so with my changing perspectives, which is happening with the walks, or with the walk, because I've only done one so far, and the bike ride, again, one ride, that's tonight, is that this is a beautiful place I can sort of see myself in long term. Not that that's, who knows? Well, I never say never. But I'm seeing the city in a completely different way. I'm seeing the city the way that I saw New York, that I saw Atlanta, that I saw, honestly, with bridges, that I saw Paris, So I think there's something to be said when you get out and explore the world, when you get out and live your life to your fullest, when you be who you are wherever you are, and you learn who you are wherever you are, and when you come back to a space that initially was a constraining space for you, you realize that there's no longer any constraints, because you've been freed of those constraints. Like there's nothing in Milwaukee that I can see right now that is everything that I didn't want it to be when I was younger. because I've already been to places where these things have these restraints and constraints and these limitations and these ideas and these limiting ideas have been removed from my mind. They've been removed from my sight. They've been removed from the way I live, right? And so what's interesting to me is that I'm experiencing Milwaukee in such a different way that it's like a brand new city. Like there's nothing in this experience that I'm having this year, since I've been here, that's similar to anything that I've ever been in before. Being a real estate investor, being a woman in her 40s who's just not interested in taking people's BS, being a photographer and just wanting to photograph the city. And with the way that I photograph, I like looking at things from different angles, and so that's the perspective thing. And so tonight, I didn't realize that the place that I walked last night actually linked to this place. So this is one of my favorite buildings. This is my favorite building. This is absolutely one of my favorite structures in the world. I call it the Calatrava. Santiago Calatrava was the designer, but it's the actual name, which I hardly ever call it. It's the Brise de Soleil, or the Burke's. I'm sorry, the Burke's Brise de Soleil. I hardly ever call it by its official name. But Calatrava, he also has designs in New York. And he had street art in New York while I was in New York. And I absolutely love those. But this one here is built like a ship. That's like the, front. And these white things right here, they fly open like wings, right? And this is like the body of the ship. And there's my baby, my bike on a ride. There's this building is actually featured quite nicely in I Am Woman because it was the site of my Milwaukee photo shoots. So there's a few women who are featured in front of this on the other side of the building, on that side of the building, looking at it this way. But even with that experience, when I came back in 2018 and did the photo shoots, I stayed on the opposite side of the building. And I'm going to insert some photos, if I can, of the 360 of this building, because tonight I took pictures from back here, from the back of the building, from the lake view. This is, the water, I thought this was the water view. I thought I knew there was a walkway back here, but I didn't know that it literally went miles. That I can come out here and just ride my bike and probably spend the whole day out here. I didn't know that. So anyway, I could have gotten some amazing pictures if I would have just taken the women around the building, but I kept them all in one spot. And so, I think we miss out on a lot of things when we confine ourselves to one viewpoint, to one perspective, to one location, one way of seeing the world, one way of seeing our space, one way of living our lives. We miss out on a great deal of joy. In this instance, just want to see that moon up there. In this instance, I will say that I could have come back and treated Milwaukee the way that I was treating it at 30, the way that I knew it, the way that I was familiar with it, and I would have gotten absolutely nothing from this experience. Because I would have done the same things I was doing, which was like, probably food and drinks with friends, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, maybe church on Sunday, hanging out with the same people, all that good stuff. And that's something I really didn't want to do. I really wanted to focus on sort of restructuring my life. And that's what this is right now. It's a whole life restructuring. And that's what I'm in the process of. And, days like today sort of challenged me to continue to think about how to rethink life, how to rethink process, how to rethink visualizing my life, basically. So that's pretty much what I wanted to say. I hope I wasn't going around in circles with that, but I think that, if you shake yourself up and you come out of your comfort zone, you will be surprised with how you surprise yourself. I think a lot of people, first of all, I think people in general are resistant to change. But we need change. Like nothing in life is constant. And the only constant is change, right? But when we not only embrace change, but when we when we just shake ourselves up, we sort of open the door for unexpected surprises. And so, I have a habit of saying, here I go, throwing my life up in the air again because, I'll be like, okay, 4 years come and gone, 3 years come and gone. I don't like where I'm at right now. Okay, we're just going to throw everything out the window and start all over. And, the older I get, the harder that is to do. And I just did it. Just sold my house in Arizona. I said, I'm going to hit the road and figure this shit out. And because this is not it. Hopefully I won't have to do it again or too many other times again. But I will tell you that every time I've shaken my life up and just thrown myself up in the air and said, listen, you're going to have to try something new because where you're at is not satisfying for you. It's not satisfying. It's not content. There's no contentment in the space, in the environment, in the life. And so if you want to be content with yourself, LaShonda, you have to do something different because what you're doing is not working. And I have to, I have these open conversations with myself. Usually they're silent, but sometimes I'll answer vocally. I'll think something and answer vocally. But, whatever. It works for me. But every time I've done that, I did it at 30. I did it at, 3-4 years ago, 41. And I did it this year at 45. Okay. And we can count 14 when I first came to Arizona because that was partially my choice. My mom was sending me regardless, but I said I'm not coming back. So that's the part that was my choice. I'm not coming back to Arizona. But I've shaken up my life in such fundamental, whole ways several times over the years. And every single time I've improved myself. Exponentially improved myself. And I'm not talking money, although money is a part of that over the last 15 years. I'm talking just the confidence of womanhood, right? Like, when I came here at 14, I told my mom, listen, if you send me to Milwaukee, I'm not coming back to Arizona. Because one, I'm telling you, wherever I go to school, wherever I start high school is where I'm going to finish high school. Because we move like every 2 or 3 years. And I had changed schools a couple of times. And I just didn't have friends. I had friends for a couple of years, but I didn't have contacts. We didn't have Facebook. We didn't have MySpace. We didn't have Twitter. There was no social media to keep people connected. It was letters. And then if you're moving around a lot, you don't have the address, basically, or the forwarding address to actually get the letters that your friends might be writing you. So I lost contact with all my childhood friends every couple of years. And so I told my mom, listen, when I start high school, I want to be in one school for 4 years and I want to make friends. and that's why my long-term friends are mostly my high school friends and after, because I've been in touch with them and I made a concerted effort to try and maintain those relationships because I had lost so many friends over the years due to just, movement. So that being said, I had a say in that life change. And that confidence of being able to say, listen, and my mom listened. She listened, and she brought herself and my brother and my sister here. And, I did part of high school with her, part of high school with my aunt. And that gave me confidence to sort of speak my mind, to use my voice more vocally, even if it was something that was a family impact item, right? I learned to say, okay, this doesn't work for me. What you're doing is not what I envisioned for my life, Mom. And, I'm not going to say she listened to, she, allowed me to talk over her or walk over her or anything like that. But she actually heard, when I was hurting, what I was concerned about. And she allowed me to voice those things. And she allowed me to make the decisions that I can make. Right. So meaning that, there were things that I had no control over, like the fact that she was shipping me here. I had no control over that. She said she was going to do it. She did it. But I did have control over the fact that I didn't have control over it. I had a say in the fact of where I wanted to continue to go to high school. And she honored that. And so, my family has been here ever since, for the most part. And so that transition at 14, it's the foundation of my confidence. It's the foundation of me using my voice. It's the foundation of me speaking up for what works for LaShonda, right? And, when people are, no one's sure about anything, but I'm sure that this will not work for me if we do it this way. So I can at least say that. At 30, when I was, my whole family, my mom had passed away 9 years prior, and everyone was leaning on me, but I had no understanding of my own identity as a young woman. And I decided that, New York was someplace that I had always wanted to be. And so I wasn't yet connected to a man. I wasn't yet with children. I was still single. And I said, you know what? While I can, I'm going to go see what the city of New York has to offer me, because I've always wanted to live there. And so I went. At 41 or so, I leave New York, and I'm very confident as a property owning young woman, as someone who has had a very quality career space and time in one of the biggest cities in the world. I was confident in my professionalism, in my contributions, in my skill set, in my education, in my economic status or positioning, all that. Like, there was just other layers of confidence that came with being in New York and thriving in New York. And when I left Arizona was actually, when I got there at, in 2018, I understood immediately, deeply, while I was looking for the space in 2017 or 2016, I think I was looking for the space, and I found it, and built it in 2017. And I understood that it was a space of transition. I can't tell you what it was transitioning me for. Now I think I'm getting an understanding of it somewhat. But I knew it wasn't going to be my lifelong place, but I was going to enjoy it while I was there. So I didn't go in there thinking I was going to be there and no place else for the rest of my life. I understood it was a space of transition. And I accepted that. And now that I've experienced what I experienced there, some hardships with people, and I've come out of that with other layers of confidence, right? Because of the things that I experienced and taught myself and dove into in that space during that time, I have added confidence. And so now that I'm in Milwaukee, I'm doing the same thing. I'm adding to that confidence. I'm adding to my understanding of who I am as a person, who I am as a woman, who I am as an individual, who I am as a Black woman, as all these multiple identities that I have, all these identifiers basically of who I am as a human being, are all elevated in confidence. And so that comes with a change of perspective. That comes with shaking up your life. That comes with, digging in and getting to know who you are, what works for you, what doesn't work for you, what you can and can't do for yourself, what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do for yourself. And so, I just want to say, change your perspective, change your life. So be blessed. Thanks for listening. To God be the glory, and all the best to you as you shake your life up and do what works for you. Bye.